My name's Blake Choker, and I'm from the Western Canadian Karting Championship. And in 2018, we started a new series for Western Canada. And so if you do miss this live, it will be recorded and you should be able to watch it again on Facebook. But what we wanted to do to bring today is some information on the series, some updates, answer some of the questions that people have been wondering about, and just touch base on some of the prize packages. So to start at the beginning, I think it's important that we talk about who we are and what we're wanting to achieve. And so I ran a successful racing team, as well as I worked as a partnership with Black Racing Engines for many years. And so we were traveling the national circuit, and to run at national level, the costs were enormous. To enter a race, on average, is between $800 to $1,200 US. Engine rentals, they started at minimum $900 and went up to $3,000 depending on the class and the event. And you know, those costs, it's just not sustainable, and it catered to a very high clientele. And so this one time I went and did a race myself at the US Open in Utah, and the weekend before I did the club race there. And I spent $90, it was a Sunday race. I raced Briggs LO206, had an absolute blast of a time, met a whole bunch of new people there. And then the following weekend was the US Open. And it was, I think, around $1,100 to enter. And right away I was like, man, who can afford this? And so that's kind of one of the big things that I really wanted to make a sustainable series, and that was probably one of our biggest focuses. The next part is Eastern Canada is a stronghold in karting. Everything is kind of based around the East Coast, and the West doesn't really get the credit it deserves. And we need people to step up and create a series so that we can reward drivers from Western Canada so that they can go to grand finals or whatever event is out there and compete and represent Team Canada. Because as an example, for Minimax, the last 1 or 2 years, if you wanted to go to the grand finals, you literally would have to compete at all the Eastern Canadian events. So there's no way we'd be sending any type of Western Canadian driver to the grand finals, because you just couldn't race and compete all the time on the East Coast. So creating the Western Canadian Karting Championship and working with Rotax, we are able to finally get some seats for mini, junior, senior, and that's where we are today. So, again, the main focus is creating a cost-effective, sustainable series, and I think we really hit that on the nail with having entry fee of $200, and then the next part, which we'll talk a little bit later, is the lottery system. So our first event is in Calgary on the 25th and 27th, and basically it is run through the club. So we are an inter-club championship. We're running our first race in Calgary, our second race in Saskatoon, and then our third race at Gregmore Raceway in Chilliwack. There will be, in the morning on Friday, driving school from 9 to noon. So anybody that's new, has never driven that track, can come out, drive, learn the track, learn some technique, and then practice will be from noon to about 6 o'clock for the rest. We really wanted to cut costs for families and racers, so we only had 1 day of practice. The second part is we are only allowing 1 set of practice tires, again, to minimize the costs, for racers, because all those little things can add up. Now, the race weekend is run by the clubs. We're there to support, and So on Saturday it's a race day and Sunday's a race day, double header. You have your practice session, your qualifying, your pre-final, final. So that's how the race structure will work. And yeah, that's kind of the main component of that. In Calgary for the first weekend, we will have a Rotax representative, Steve Chapman, on hand, providing support, answering any questions. And I think that says something to have, a representative from Rotax helping us. This is a great opportunity for many individuals. So in keeping things in mind, this series is catered to everybody. This is not just about, the elite people. If you're new to the sport of karting, we really believe that this series is for you, so that you can travel, go to a new track, learn a new track, meet some new people, compete, gauge yourself against the best of Western Canada, win some prizes, have fun, and then, as well as we do want a place where the more competitive can compete, and showcase their skills and talent, and we want to reward them with prizes, and we also, and again with Rotax, sending our top pilot to the Rotax Grand Finals. So a big component of the Western Canadian Series is the introduction to the lottery engine. Now, I have been, again, building engines since 2004, Rotaxes, and it's an unfortunate thing, but in the last 10 years, let's say, the development of the Rotax engine has been done on the dynos of engine builders. My parents would know our dyno was running from 9 to 5 almost every single day in our garage. And clients that had big budgets would spend enormous amounts of money on engines. I would say up to $30,000 in extreme cases. And at the end of the day, you just can't compete against that. We're talking about a horsepower difference from a stock engine to a best engine, and that's on average. We even have seen more extreme cases. And so when we're competing in that type of environment and there's that spread, the average person has no chance. So my goal from the very beginning, with Scott Campbell and Scott Sinclair, was to create the most equal level playing field possible for the competition. And so we had reached out to Rotax and talked to them about doing a lottery system. So the lottery system is where engines are supplied by Rotax to the event, and they're all sealed. No one can service them and tune them up, dyno the pipes, etc., and to create the most equal playing field. I want to send the best Western Canadian pilots to the Grand Finals, and not someone who has the biggest engine budget and is, got 1/10 to half a second on the rest of the field based on horsepower. So very early on, we had decided that we'll use the lottery engines for anyone who wants to compete for Rotax Grand Finals ticket. Now, a lot of people have asked about the costs and the expenses. Now here's the reality, and there's two perfect examples. Racer number one, in years prior, would say, all right, I'm gonna run the Western Canadians. So he goes to his engine builder and he says, hey, I'm running the Westerns. I want my engine to be top power. So the engine builder takes it, rebuilds it, dynos it, and maybe you get between $1,000 and a $1,500 bill for the very first round. And so he competes. Maybe he's a little bit down on power, maybe everything's good, but let's say he's a little bit down. And for the second round, again, he wants to make sure he has top power, everything's good, sends it to his engine builder, and the exact same stuff happens again where he has to pay. And you know, it's between $800 to $1,500, let's say. And by the end of the 3 rounds, you're spending anywhere between $3,000 to $4,500 in rebuilds or getting it ready. The lottery engine eliminates all that. You basically can show up for $350. You get the basic package, and which is the engine, the carburetor, the airbox, and you know, you basically bolt it on your cart, and you're racing for $350. You don't have to worry about giving it to the engine builder. You don't have to worry and say, oh man, you know, do I have the same kind of power as the other driver? I mean, it is the most equal platform possible, and I really think that this is a game-changing opportunity for racers, because when I look back at all of our traveling and competition, the current model is not sustainable because there's no limit on one's budget, and so the average person can't compete with the elite, and that's a problem. But now you're on the same playing field, and the cost is far cheaper than you investing in your engines and getting them rebuilt and getting them dynoed. You don't have to do that kind of stuff. So at $350, that cost is by far way below industry standards, let's say, and that will create you know, a huge benefit to the series, to its racers, and I'm really looking forward to that and to see how that plays out. I really think it's a great opportunity. Again, I want the best racers, not just the ones with the big budgets playing. This anyone can afford, I think. Very reasonable, and you know, you just don't have that ownership of trying to find more power. Then the next thing is, you know, now that your engines are looked after for WCKC, you know, you just run your club engines and you don't have to put a lot of money in. All you're doing is servicing those engines. So overall, your cost of engine repairs and service will be far lower because you're not having this big investment. And the whole goal in mind was to create an equal playing field, and I think that this is the only way possible. We've spent a lot of time discussing this, and I think this is really important for the future of karting, and I think you'll see a lot more series following this kind of program. And yeah, I mean, so that's kind of it on the lottery. So there's 2 packages. There's the basic package, which is again the engine, carburetor, airbox, and then there's a complete package. The complete package, I think, is $650, and that's everything. So basically you get the whole package. So if you don't have a Rotax and you want to compete, you will get the whole package. The next aspect, so on our website, if you go to WCKC.ca, you can register, and our registration is done through Motorsports Reg. After that, if you go to our online store and you do want to compete for a Rotax Grand Final ticket, you will then go to our store and purchase the rental of the engine, whichever class you're in, and you want the basic or the complete package. And so we'll arrange that. Now we have to talk about a date because entries have been a little bit slow, and I think, you know, most of us are still shoveling snow off our driveways, so we're not very focused on karting at the moment. But a lot of legwork has to go into this and organizing it, and we have a date of May 1st that entries have to be in for the Rotax Grand Finals prizes, because we have to place that order for the engines and have them shipped to us, and we need to make sure that, or sorry, it's April 1st, not May 1st. So April 1st, we have to have that order put in place so that the engines can be shipped, that they're there, we can prep them, make sure everything is okay. So you have about, well, I'll tell you. You have 11 days that if you have been on the fence, you kind of need to step up and register and put that in place so that we can get the proper numbers. It's not a situation that anybody wants to be in, but the reality is that I don't want to be in a position where we wait to the very last minute and the engines don't show up or things like that. So this is really important to us, and I hope you appreciate that. And so if you do want to compete for a Grand Finals ticket, then you will have to register by April 1st. Now, having said that, competing for the Grand Finals ticket, it may not be for everybody, and that's why the championship, anyone for Rotax can compete, and we're all scored in the same championship total. The only difference is anyone using the lottery engine, they will be specifically competing for the Grand Finals ticket. So they might finish 5th in the championship, but because they were using the lottery engine, they are being awarded. So yeah, I think that's pretty much covers that component. Let me see if anyone said anything. So no real questions. Okay, we'll go on to the next. We'll talk about prizes. So I'm pretty pumped to announce that for the first round, the top American competing at the Western Canadian Championship, they will get a free entry into the US Open. So I think this is a huge opportunity where, for the first time, Americans can maybe come up, compete at a big race in Western Canada and get a prize to race at the US Open. There's a couple great benefits. Number one, Canadians are super nice. Number two, the Canadian dollar. It's 25% cheaper. So, that you save a lot of money when you start, coming to Canada. So those are two nice bonuses. So I really hope that we can get some US drivers. I do know that, as an example, Diego Lorock will be competing in Minimax. So I'm pretty excited about that because he is a Grand Finals world champion. And, to have that kind of experience and that kind of caliber at this event really will help, Western Canadian drivers compete and see where they stand against some of the best in the world. So in the near future, I'm going to be reaching out to as many friends that I know, sending them a message, giving them a call, saying, hey, come up and drive up here and come and race with us. Again, the cost to enter this race and all your expenses is almost the cost of a typical large national event entry, So I think price is really good. I really hope to get some guys out, and again, the first finisher in each class, mini, junior, senior. I will ask about masters, but they'll get free entry into the US Open, which is in New Jersey. I don't know the exact date, but that's a great opportunity. Now, also too, SRA is running the Canadian Open, which will be at Mont Tremblant, one of the most beautiful tracks. I believe it's the weekend after Chilliwack, which is our last round, and SRA has given for all of our Briggs classes. I'll read all the classes actually, just so that we get all the proper information out. So the classes are Briggs Cadet, Briggs Junior, Briggs Senior, Briggs Masters, Rotax Mini, Rotax Junior, Rotax Senior, Rotax DD2 and DD2 Masters, and Shifter Open. So the winner in that class, we will have free entry into the Canadian Open and a 50% discount on the racing tires. So that's a pretty awesome prize, and you know, a great opportunity for Western Canadians to go and race on the East Coast. I can say for myself, Mont Tremblant is probably one of the most amazing tracks I've ever driven on. Plus, the area is absolutely gorgeous. So I do see a question from David Buck. He's asking, what's the entry cost? It's $200, David. So for you, being American, it's probably like $175, maybe even a little bit less. But so yeah, that's kind of that. So again, got to give out a great shout out to SRA and the Canadian Open for creating some good prizes. That's one of our big focuses, is prizes. Now that we have most of the leg work done, there's a lot of negotiating going on. Now our main focus now is getting some amazing prizes, and you know, that will be through sponsorship. And so we've reached out to a couple of companies. Nothing solid yet, but I think we'll have some amazing stuff for the Briggs guys. I'm pretty sure we'll have a rally school involved for Briggs, so I'm really excited about that. You'll hear some more information on that coming up. So, but now that the series is kind of in structure and everything's out there, you know, you'll start to see a lot more about that. So yeah. So I think that's pretty much all that I wanted to talk about. I'll double check, make sure there's, you know, I have to give a major credit to Scott Campbell and Scott Sinclair for all the work that they've put into this. You know, it seemed a lot easier early last year, and the time that this requires is a lot. And you know, we have a great group of guys working on this. This is a daily basis, and you know, I'm really proud of this. I really want to give back to the karting community, and I really want to showcase Western Canadian karters and give them an avenue to compete at and to travel. We used to have Western Canadians before, and it was one of the most enjoyable series. And you know, to be able to pick it up and to have a couple more people in the program and working on this, I really think that you know, if people don't join in, they're going to be kicking themselves in the near future, saying, man, I should have been at that race. I think we've really dotted our I's and crossed our T's and found great clubs to work with, make it financially affordable for all families, you know, and so I think that's it is a huge opportunity, and I really hope that you, the racers, get behind this and say, you know what, I am going to go travel. I'm going to go on a road trip and go to Calgary, have fun, meet people, So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this. I will say that for the last round, we do have a new sponsor, Accent Drivers Solutions. Now they have the most amazing simulators. They're located in Richmond right now, and so they're going to be working with us. We're really excited about that. I've driven the simulator myself, and it's sponsorships like this that, you know, are cool, fun, great prizes for the racers. You know, so it's little things like that that we're trying to do and reach out to the community of businesses and create opportunities for them, as well as, you know, create great prizes for everyone. I just want to say, okay, so Scott Campbell asked me to talk about the point system. So one thing that's I've been doing a lot of races, a lot of series, and when you look at the points for a series, the top place gets 500, the next is 455, 355, and it's really complicated if you literally don't have a calculator. And, you know, in Europe, in many cases, in some cases, when you finish first, you get a number 1. If you finish second, you get 2, third, you know, fourth, and so on and so on. And, you know, I want to be able to look at the spreadsheet and be like, oh, okay, this guy finished first, second, first. And so basically we're flipping it. The lowest the points, that is the winner of the championship. And, you know, I think it just comes from a marketing standpoint. Anyone can look at it and read. You're not there trying to figure out what position you're in. And so that's a pretty cool thing that we're going to be pursuing. The other thing too, I feel that many parents, you know, you have the top guys and the top teams, and you know, they're great and they have a solid program, but many parents at the track have, you know, they're missing knowledge. They may not understand stuff. And one of the things that I really wanted to do, and I probably will take this on and focus on it myself, is that I want to be able to, on Friday night or maybe Saturday, every hour, or for 1 hour, we have a course, and it might be on data, it might be on front end alignment, and we'll get different experts in the you know, shops or teams, and they will teach this class. That way we're giving back some information. Maybe you can learn something about data, or, you know, changing an axle, whatever it is. Bringing that kind of value to the program will be huge, and I think it gives back to the racers that they're not just leaving with just competition, but also some knowledge. And I think that will be a pretty cool program once we roll it out in Calgary. And I think people will be very grateful for it, because at the end of the day, it is tough to learn about this sport, and there's not that much information out there. So, you know, to spend 1 hour and talk about things, or to show something on a computer, will be a huge asset to everybody. The other thing too is, you know, we're still discussing it, but for like engines, after qualifying, we're going to put the top 3 setups of the engines. I know that races aren't won and lost because of what main jet or what pin height you're using, or your air screw or gear. Those aren't top secret stuff. And what we want to do is make sure that, you know, the people that are struggling at the back or mid-pack, maybe they don't know, you know, to provide a little bit of basic information so that they don't have to go through the pits searching, wondering, is he telling me the truth? Like, you know, we've all been there, struggling at one point or another, and to have something where you could just go say, oh, okay, you know what, like, you know, they're running P2, great, okay, let's try P2. So I really think that that will help for the more, you know, masses of the karters that are struggling, because at some point we all struggle, and I think it'll be a nice little component to the racing. So yeah, I think that's it. We are yeah. Any questions? Please feel free to reach out to us. You can send us emails, send us on Messenger, give us a phone call. We are here to help. We want everyone to show up. Edmonton guys, like, you know, Calgary guys. Even if you're a Calgary driver and you don't register on our website, you're still entered into the championship. So we want you to know that you don't have to register on WCKC. You're registered the moment you entered that race. You're in the championship just like everyone else. So that's really important. We really want to get guys from East. I know we have a couple entries from Eastern Canada, which is amazing. Love to have some teams. I reached out to a couple of teams to see if they could get some drivers going. You know, the Briggs and Stratton is absolutely the most funnest, super competitive class there is. So if you're new to karting, man, get into a Briggs. It's a no-brainer. Come run the Western Canadians, learn, grow. It'll be a fun environment. The road tax, as far as I'm concerned, is an amazing package. They're super reliable. They're great for the hobbyists. They're great for national events. You know, and so we've partnered with 2 really good engine programs, and you know, really happy that you're considering coming with us and racing. And for the ones that have signed up already, we thank you. It's going to be a great year. Again, reach out to us. Our website is wckc.ca, and all of our contact information is there. So thank you, and have a great evening.